All right, here we go. PSAT Administration Training, October 19th, 2016, here at McKinney High School. So I'm going to go through this quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You'll be watching this as a recording, and then I will have you sign your oath. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And so here's what the day is going to look like. Ninth graders are going to have a regular schedule, 1st through 7th period. They'll also have a regular lunch. 10th graders will all be taking the PSAT. They will be in the D and E hall, downstairs and upstairs. They will eat lunch during their 5th period in their rooms when they are finished with the test, and then they will go back to 6th and 7th. 11th graders not taking the test will be on a regular schedule, and then again 12th graders will be arriving late, and then we'll continue with their regular schedule. 9th, 11th, and 12th graders, obviously not testing, will be on a regular lunch schedule. All this information will be sent out again to parents and students and be posted around the school. So some of the basics will be in the testing center, F101, that is down that hallway that goes behind the fishbowl and is leading towards the front offices. Again, we'll be in the D and E hallways, upstairs and downstairs. It's the easiest to block off. Students will be in the testing rooms approximately about 5 hours. They're going to go until 5th period, and so that will include time for a SAC lunch. So encourage your students to bring a lunch. We will take their orders as well. All students should be back in their regular classes by 6th period. The time frame, pre-administration. We do have to do the pre-administration, which will take about 40 to 50 minutes. The reading section will be 60 minutes. They'll get a 5-minute break. Then they will have the writing section for 35 minutes. There's 2 math portions, a non-calculator portion and a calculator portion. And then there'll be some things to wrap up towards the end. They will eat their lunch. And we'll continue to move on. Everybody will get an instructor manual, and in this slide is a link to the online one that you can look at earlier. And so there is a manual that you guys will be able to read, and all of the pages are listed there to help you out with the calculator, time frames, pre-administration instructions, all that kind of stuff. We'll also give you a script as well to help you with those page numbers. And again, in the instructor manual, there's these green boxes. It tells you, word for word, read this, read this, read this. And so it's very simple to follow along with. Testing material distribution will begin at 7 a.m. Please be there promptly and be ready for students by 7:30. My goal is to have labels for you, so this will make this process a little bit easier. Once all students are in the room, you may begin. If you have anybody absent, wait until 7:40, but then go ahead and begin. I will talk about if students enter later in a few moments. Proctors and floaters, each testing room will have one proctor. If you were not here for that training day and have not checked your room assignments, please do so. This is for every single teacher, no matter whether you think you're proctoring or not. As you never know, there could be absences, and we need to pull somebody at the last minute and get a sub in for your classroom because we do need trained teachers who are administering the test to the students. If for some reason you haven't let me know yet, please let me know if you have a child that is living with you that is taking the PSAT this year. This is very important. All right, if you are in a D hall or an E hall, please make sure that you have your walls covered or you've taken down that information, especially any math formulas, vocabulary, grammar, especially if you're in one of the English hallways. Please make sure that you have all of this information covered as that is a major portion. And if you're in a social studies classroom, that is important as well, that you go ahead and cover some of those word walls and things like that where you have definitions and terms up. That could benefit the students. We need those covered. The desks need to be 4 feet apart. While this picture is good, this next one is probably a little bit better, especially the picture on the right-hand side where you could turn the desks. That will save you a lot of space, especially if you're one of those classrooms with pushing at like 32 desks or something like that. You'll want to go ahead and rotate those. Our goal is to probably have about 28 students, but it might be 30 in a few rooms. And so you'll want to maximize your space. If your room is being used, my advice, and this is just me as a particular person, I would rearrange the classroom prior to a proctor coming in and having to rearrange those desks. Plus, it just helps the proctor out that day for things to go a lot smoother when they're not having to rearrange a classroom when they get in there after getting their testing material. The code, please put this on the board. This slide will be available, and it will be in the script as well to help you guys out. You will be using your manual, so a little bit different than STAR, or having you fill out some other pieces of paperwork. You will write on your manual. You'll fill it out. On the back of it, you'll be writing your name, your room number, code number. Inside the booklet, you'll be writing your start, stop, break time. All of that will be in there. And again, there's a chart to help you out with any of that timing if you need that. When the students arrive, they will not be in alphabetical order. We're actually going to give you a scrambled list of students. So in the past, you might have had a whole bunch of students with a last name beginning with A, then a bunch with the last name beginning with B, and then a bunch with the last name beginning with C. We are no longer going to be doing that. According to College Board, they would like those students fully scrambled so that way they don't have time to kind of figure out who's in what room. And so we'll be posting these at the end of the day on Tuesday, so that way they are up Wednesday morning for the students to find out where their rooms are located. That will be in alphabetical order, but obviously the rooms won't be. And so you'll get that seating arrangement where they are scrambled. Make sure that they place all personal items along the wall, and then they need to have a number 2 pencil and an approved calculator. No other material or electronic devices are allowed. This should be pretty common. We'll talk about a few of those, but obviously make sure students are not using one of those smart watches. So none of those new iWatches or any of the other brands of smart watches. And then, of course, we're going to try and have labels for you, but if not, we'll use the normal tracking sheet for signing in and signing out cell phones. Prohibited aids. This is nothing new for you guys. The electronic devices, the cameras, the pens. Highlighters, that one might be different for some of you. No scratch paper, earplugs, compasses, things like that, protractors. These are all things that are not allowed on the day of the test. And again, please read the manual. It gives you a full list if you have any questions about any of those items, such as a certain type of calculator. The first section, no. Second section, yes, for the calculators. And there is a list on page 31 that will tell you. So if it's in question, obviously those TI-84s are the ones that are most common. But if it's another one and you have questions about it, look at that list. If you're still not sure, get a reliever or floater in the hallway, and they can contact myself or Mrs. Rose or Ms. Adams to help you out. And here's a quick list of it. Again, this will be on the Google Share Drive, so you can go ahead and look at this for your reference. Here's the back of the instructor manual, where you'll be filling out your name, room location, school. Seating chart will be filled out there as well. So again, you are writing on the instructor manual. Attendance, there'll be a pink roster for you that will be turned in at the beginning of the morning. There'll be a yellow roster for sack lunches that will be turned in, and then there's a white roster which you will hold on to. That'll be for your reference for knowing students' names and ID in case there's any type of questions or errors that might be occurring. Students should print their name on their upper right corner of their test booklet. This is important because they'll get this information back. They should have their English teacher's name on there. This is all going to be in the script for you to help you out, so that way you guys have this and you'll be good to go. And so the instructor administration for administering the test begin on page 15. Again, all of this is going to be in there. Just read word for word those green boxes and you'll be good to go. The ID number is very important. It stresses this in the manual, but this is just an extra reminder. They are going to be filling out their student ID on there. They do not include the S. It's just a numerical aspect to that ID number. And then their grade level. This is also very important. Some students might want to argue about this. Just let us know. We'll figure it out. They just need to go as is. Whatever their roster is, the 9th graders are going to be put together. The sophomores will be put together. The juniors will be put together. This is more than likely something they might be disputing based off of their credits. This is important just because it has to do with National Merit Scholars. And so they are going to be placed in the correct area, so make sure that they fill that out correctly. If they want to dispute that, we can definitely get their name and ID, go down, check it in our system, and verify for them with the registers. But let us know if anything like that does come up. But make sure that student ID is in there. That will also help out. We will be using an optional code. Again, this will be in the script for you guys. This will be box 23. It is in the instructions. It's one of the green boxes. It'll make sense when you see it in your script versus the instructor script. It'll work out for you. Late student procedures. If they come in and you have not started yet on section 1, this is where they can still go ahead and get started. Once you actually start giving the instructions to begin the actual test, that is where you're going to have to get a reliever or floater, and we'll relocate that student. Once the test starts, no students can come in. So as long as you're still going over some of the administration information, they can kind of just pick up where you're at. If they can fill in as they're waiting for other students, awesome. And of course, we can just wait till the very end. This isn't that big of a deal because we have that time built in for lunch, so this can get filled out, so that way it is not delaying everybody else in the process. Recording answers. Answers must be recorded on the answer sheet during the time interval. This is important. Please remind students of this before they get started. Once that time is up, that is it. It's not like they can go back and now start bubbling. So they need to remember to kind of go along bubbling during that process with the time frame that they have. They need to keep moving. So this isn't one of those like 3-4 hour tests where they're going to have a lot of time to go back. As you saw in that timing, 60 minutes, and then for that first part, and then all those other ones are less than an hour. And so it's important that they are bubbling as they go and writing as they go. Bathroom passes. We will have bathroom passes. It's one at a time. We will have bathroom monitors. If there is a student needing to go to the nurse, please get one of the relievers or floaters. We want to take those students down in person and walk with them and escort them. Please remind them, though, if they're going to the bathroom or they're going to the nurse, this is taking their time. Time does not stop for them. Time just continues on. And so they will be losing that time. So this is very important to remind students. They can take those bathroom breaks that they're going to have during those 5-minute intervals. That might be the time to send students or remind them they might want to finish before going to the bathroom. Active monitoring. Please be monitoring the whole entire time. We're asking that everybody not be on their computers or their cell phones working on grading. We want to have active monitors, including the relievers, as they'll be walking up and down the hallway helping relieve teachers. We're also asking that those proctors take advantage of the early first through third periods, taking a break, as we will have a lot more relievers. We'll have the senior teachers before the seniors arrive, and so they will be able to give you a lot more breaks during that time. Maybe get yourself a snack or eat an early lunch slash brunch or something, but get that in there so that way you're feeling a little bit more comfortable towards the end of that time, where there might be some longer stretches where we only have 2 relievers on each hallway, where before we'll have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 on some of these hallways with the senior teachers. And again, make sure to monitor tests closely and move around the room. Post-test procedures. Account for all of the test materials. Answer documents should be put in roster order, because remember, you're going to get a scrambled list. So put that in the roster order that you have. Check all the books for the student's name, the English teacher's name, the English period. We will give you all of that in the script. So you'll get a list of English teachers and their codes, so that way they can fill that out correctly, because obviously you're going to get a mixture of students in different English classes. And so you'll be able to make sure that every student gets that correct English teacher and correct class period. Please verify this important information. Box 19, the grade level. Box 20, the student ID. Box 23 will be the optional code. Again, this has to do with their English teachers, and we'll make sure that you get that information for you. Please make sure you check your student's grade level based on the roster. So not just that they've filled it out, but the roster that you are getting. This is really critical to the accurate coding that will occur. More post-testing procedures. Once all of your materials are organized and you have verified your answer document information, signal your floater to cover your room, return the materials to F101. We are going to try our hardest to actually get up and come to your room for you. But just in case, this will be the procedures. We'll obviously let you know if that changes, and plus it's an easier, better change. So I'm not worried about letting you know at the last minute that we'll be coming around to collect your material. But that's going to kind of be our goal. We just have to organize it and get some carts, and I want to make sure it runs smoothly. Monitor your students as they eat their lunches. They need to keep quiet. Certain classes will be at certain different points based off of students arriving, but we'll all be roughly starting between that 7:30 and 7:40 mark with the pre-administration, and then beginning right afterwards. Students may not leave the classroom until they are dismissed, and they will not get their cell phones back till the very end, right before they're dismissed for sixth period. Staff assignments, find your room ahead of the testing date. Invariably, please have every single person, whether you're proctoring or not, and you're coming to review over this testing because you weren't available yesterday, please make sure that you check whether you're a senior level teacher or even if you're just a teacher that's not proctoring or relieving. Your classroom might be used during your planning period because we are having to relocate those D&E hall teachers that aren't proctoring. So please make sure you're checking that Google spreadsheet for anything that might be in there. And please let your students know ahead of time, and we'll be giving you the information about how we're going to cover attendance those days for those students that are absent, or maybe if you are proctoring and you have a few students who aren't taking the test, making sure that they get their attendance counted for. We'll let you know those procedures in part of the script and what to do ahead of time. But just communicate with your colleagues if you're floating around or moving, or if you have students going somewhere else. And then everybody, please be in the hallway during the passing periods to help monitor and keep students away from the D&E halls. We will have those blocked off, but still making sure students aren't going in those areas. Actively monitoring, as we've said before, just reiterating this point, keeping all students in their class, especially during the day. If you guys could really limit those bathroom breaks to the rest of the school just for emergencies, students really needing to go. That way there's as little disruption as we can have, especially near those D&E halls, especially the nurse, really limiting that because any tester we might need to get down there, and they might need medicine that they daily take, and then we need to get them back up there. So if we could limit those students down in the nursing area, that will help. And then just be flexible, especially since it's my first time being in charge of this. Help me out, be lenient. I'll try and help you out as well the best that I can. Just a few reminders. Here's some contact information for you. Again, this will be on the Google Drive, so that way you can access this information. And don't forget to sign the oath if you are coming late and watching this at another time. Thank you so much for your help, and have a good day.